stream. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 240, the penultimate show of 2015. We will do a show next week. And I'm actually thinking for next week's show, since I can guarantee there will be zero SWTOR news, we'll probably just do a retrospective, just a walk down memory lane in 2015 and just see what we've received from Bioware in that time. Now, we do have Alex joining us as well. Of course, Bill is there. Yeah, and he is just updating his Hangout plugin, which is taking an inordinate amount of time. Probably had to reboot his box or something. So, just to warn, just to confirm, we will not be spoiling The Force Awakens. So, if you haven't seen it yet, fear not. We won't say all the things we could say. If I'm sure pretty much everyone's seen it by now, but a few people won't have, and we refuse to spoil it for them.
Who's seen it the most so far?
Well, not me, because I've only seen it the once. How many times have you seen it, Bill?
I've actually still only seen it once. I've been incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody in my group that hasn't seen it at least 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I sort of don't want to spoil it because when I had a chance to think about it for a while, all of the plot holes and all the weird shit, just you sort of realize it. I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. Best Star Wars movie out of all 7 now. Yeah.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Better than the original trilogy. I thought it was that good, but
I agree.
That's amazing.
yeah.
For me, it was either 3rd or 5th. But
Wow.
that's because 3 and 4 are really close together.
Yeah, okay. 5th? That means one of the prequels is better. Which one?
I like Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
the themes and the mythos of it.
Now,
I'm
Kefis
aware
says... Sorry, keep going.
Go ahead. No.
D. Mirazil says that Kefis is Snoke.
Yes, that would be. That's a funny idea.
I actually thought it was more like Voldemort myself.
Hello?
Alex,
Right.
hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, we're live. Just
Oh.
FYI.
Hello,
So
everyone.
don't swear or anything like that, as you would normally do. He's got a filthy
Will
mouth,
not.
this kid.
How dare you?
Dobby. Who would Dobby be? That'd be BB-8, man.
The house elf.
Oh, speaking of, can you see him? There he is. Let me just...
Ah, you finally opened.
Yes,
I've
there
got
he
mine
is.
right here.
We've all got the droid. We've all got
Is
This
it fun?
is
You
the
having
droid
fun
you're
doing it?
looking for.
I think I've got him out on the floor and driven him around once, maybe twice.
He's a bit of a desk ornament to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use him, though.
The app to control him is really terrible, but
Yeah.
it's just awful. I'm hoping someone will hack it eventually. And so,
I'll make it do a better one.
yeah. It has got a self-explore mode where it just bumps into walls and it completely fails to learn its environment. But
It's quite funny.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. It's funny when you have pets and the pets are like, what is this?
well, Lady Katiara just asked, did the cat attack it? They didn't know what to make of it, actually. Our dog, who's a Jack Russell, had all kinds of fun with it. He realised he could just knock the head off the little headless station. Of course, the droid is basically just the ball, and so it's fine, but he kept knocking. He's just headless.
Okay. Do you want me to start my recording?
Yeah, guys, could everyone start their Audacity?
Yep. My Audacity's rolling.
All right,
Yes.
so yeah, Chill
Test, test.
actually has not a hard stop, but a reasonably soft. Oh, I don't know, a reasonably firm,
Right.
soft deadline. So we're not going to muck around for any longer. Everyone is recording.
Not
Alex,
Yes. I
all right,
believe I
Bill
am.
will be, and Chill, you are.
Testing.
I am indeed.
Yeah.
Yet. Let me check my own to make sure it's right. Test, 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 test. Yep.
Give me a second.
Sure, Bill.
I started patching on my laptop into SPOTOR about 7:15, and it's still installing.
When did they patch
Whoa.
it?
And so when it's going in that install mode, it's just running cycle after cycle after cycle, slowing down everything on my computer.
Oh, I just kill it. Otherwise, it's going to muck up the recording. Can you stop it?
Let me try.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I've noticed that myself. Back when I had my malware scanner just flogging my CPU cores, my Audacity recording actually gets out of sync. It's like it pauses, presumably because it's getting CPU starved occasionally, which it really should not happen. That's a terrible thing for a real-time app to do, but it did. So, but that's only if there's a heavy CPU load on the system. Yeah, thanks, Snave. I really... Oh, cool.
Oh my gosh. My cat.
What's up? Yeah.
My cat just tried to get in, and then someone came up and grabbed him.
Right. Welcome back, Chill. I assume you had to re-enter your password.
Indeed. And I've re-put it back into studio mode.
All right.
Okay, let's
Looks
see.
good.
Yeah. When you're away for more
Yeah.
than a week, yeah, it'll definitely ask for your password.
Yep. All right. Let us not prolong this. Let's get into it because we do want to. We've already talked a little bit about the movie. No spoilers, but we'll cover it probably a little bit as Bill will bring it up. So we'll go from there. Chill has some sad things to talk about.
Are we good to go?
Yeah. Let's not. So Bill, you good? You recording?
Yep, good.
All right. Everyone's going. I'm ready to go.
All good.
Let's rock.
All right, going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. I can do this. I can do this. This is episode 240, being recorded on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys.
And our guests today are our favorite moneymaker, Bill, and Alex from the Geek Podcast. So, Bill, what you been up to?
Well, just getting ready for the holidays. Not a lot of time in game, unfortunately. There's a lot going on with work. Busy time at work, busy time in life, Christmas shopping, we
Yeah.
make candy, it's all the family stuff, so it's nonstop. I haven't had I've probably only been in game a couple hours in the past couple weeks. For better or for worse, there's not been a great amount to do with the events being the shape they're in and things like that. So I did have one thing to talk about is my subscription did end.
Okay.
I'd gone back to, like I said before, last time I was on, I had been off my subscription. I came back for the launch of Coffee. I played through everything there. And honestly, I don't see a huge difference personally in my play under the preferred model and the regular model, with one major thorn in my side, and that's I don't get to enjoy any of my money.
It's all in escrow, presumably.
It is. And so last time I had a trusted friend watch over my hoard of credits, Theo. This time I couldn't do that. I was afraid, actually. I thought about it, and the week my subscription was ending was the same time all of our duplicate exploit problems were happening. So the last thing I could do is start transferring hundreds of millions credits between characters, whether it's my own or others or anything like that. The way they were talking, I could only imagine what flags that would throw if I transferred somebody 200 and 300 million credits. So I was actually forced just to let them sit there, and they're sitting in escrow, and I can't get to them. So that's one of the major problems I see with the model. I mean, there's a lot of nitpicky stuff. I've said before, like, it drives me nuts as a preferred that I can unlock all 3 of my crew skills. Normally, you get 1 is free to play, 2 is preferred. I can unlock the 3rd. That's great.
Right.
But I can only send 3 companions out at any given time.
Mm.
And there's no way to unlock 4, 5, and 6. You're limited to 3. That's it. Which that kind of, if I'm in a huge crafting mode and making augment kits and things like that, that's a huge disadvantage. I'm half as efficient as I could be.
Right.
But it's even worse because when you're preferred or free to play, you cannot queue up multiple requests. So you can only send those 3 out one thing at a time. So instead of being able to queue up 5 augment kits or 5 augments, you can only do 1 augment kit for 3 companions. So now I have whatever the count is, 374 companions, I think, on a couple of my characters, however many there are, and I'm stuck to using 3 of them for 1 item at a piece, and that really slows down that aspect of the game, which is mainly what I do. So that kind of bugs me that you just, there's no way to monetize that to unlock it. And I think that's one of the things that I've run into with the preferred model of, honestly, guys, if you're listening out there in Austin, you want a monetization expert, call me, email me, we can talk about salary. I'm not cheap. But I can come and explain to you guys how to monetize this and make more money, because there's a lot of stuff left on the table. There's a lot of money out there to be made. I think the free-to-play model does work. It's got its supporters and its detractors. I've seen it. I've been playing around the past month with a lot of different games that are free-to-play. I've just experimented with dozens. Some are pay-to-win more, some are less, some are just actually micro-only, some have this hybrid model. And it works. It really does work, but you kind of have to know how to massage it. And we just haven't captured that in this game yet. And I would love to see a little more expansion done. Okay. The other side of it is that I'm a weird case, right? Not everybody. Well, hopefully not everybody has 100 million or 200 million or 300 million credits anymore.
Well, I didn't before.
Yeah. Right. Which goes back, you guys talked on GDC and it's been bandied about is it an exploit? BioWare put it in the game. Yeah, we know. Chuck has argued this on Bad Feeling, and I'm not far from his position, but I wouldn't argue that it's without harm either. There are definitely. I go back to, I think it's been over 150 episodes ago since I first came on to start talking about the ways to make credits. Max and Seema put an incredible amount of effort on their last show on The Escape about how to do this. All that work, and we all want to do it and share the ideas because a lot of people want to know how to do it. That work shouldn't be trivialized. The player's work that puts into making this credits, because somebody else can go out and make 100 million credits in an hour by exploiting the system. It's not so much that it's harming me. It does a little bit, and it devalues all the work that I put in. But let's get real, that's a 1%er problem to begin with. But it does hurt the game experience. It does devalue all that time and effort put into all that crafting, all of the playing the GTN, all of the real money that people spend on cartel packs to turn around and sell for credits.
Right.
It does have a major effect on the psyche of the player, on how they feel the fairness of the game goes, and it does have an effect ultimately. I would argue the Cortana bug has a lot smaller effect, and it gives gear that's really only useful to. But this had a pretty profound effect across the economy. And it's not what people think of. It causes massive inflation, and the market. That doesn't matter. That stuff will work itself out. Hopefully, BioWare has tracked down and taken away most of that. We'll never know for sure, but it does have a bigger impact, and I think that's lost in a lot of the discussion that I've heard on all the different shows and on Reddit, on the forums, that there is an impact there, and it is important to the health of the game. I wish it was taken care of a little faster, but we'll get through it. Other than that, I think in game that's about it. Other than that, all I've been doing, I did go and see a movie. I do not recommend seeing Alvin and the Chipmunks. I don't know how they made it. Again, it's no, I jest. I wouldn't spend money on that. If you're going to see Alvin and the Chipmunks, I would suggest getting tickets for The Force Awakens and help it set. It's having trouble making money, I guess. So go ahead and get the tickets to Star Wars and then go into the other theater. But I actually went through the marathon that started Wednesday night.
That's right.
So I was lucky enough. My wife was off Wednesday, and she went to get in line. So we didn't have assigned seats, and she did manage to show up and actually be first in line. Oh. So there was a group of us going. There was 9 of us all together, and we all signed up for a specific hour to line sit. So she got there the first hour, grabbed us. We were first in line. That was at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. My line sitting duty started at 9:30 p.m. that night. So I came home from work. I got off work at 4, took a short nap, and then went down to the theater, which was inside actually a mall area here in northern Kentucky or Cincinnati. We got a pizza, went to sit in line, and at 9:30 they let us into the theater, which kind of surprised us because the first movie, episode 1, started at 1 a.m. So
it's appropriate in some ways, but
yeah. So we started line sitting at 1:30 in the afternoon. The first movie started at 1 in the morning. Went through the prequels. I've defended them in the past, and I have to say I don't know what I was thinking. After watching them again, especially watching them all in order, watching them again, man, I don't know. One is just bad, and 2 is worse. And it's everything. It's the dialogue is so bad, and the pacing is just all over the place, and it just makes no sense in places. And I don't know. 3, not horrible. 3 looks like a masterpiece when you compare it to 1 and 2. It's really interesting. I've never really sat and watched them all in order. Not even 4, 5, and 6. But to watch all 7 movies in a row was a really interesting experience. And it was great to be able to finally get to 7, which was 7 p.m. on Thursday. So we started at 1 a.m. So we started line at 1:30 p.m. Wednesday. Started the movies at 1 a.m.
Wow.
Episode 7 started at 7 p.m. on Thursday. So by the time the movie was over, we had in total been there for 28 hours, and it had been 34 hours since the line sitting started when we finished. My wife and I looked at each other and said, let's see if we can get into the midnight showing. We loved it that much. I mean,
wow.
I said, I think it's my favorite of the series, especially having watched them all fresh right back to back. It was the best for me.
Is my brain fuzzy, or were there like huge gaps between the movies, or why did it take so long to go from 1 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 6 movies?
So between 1 and 2, there was about 20 minutes, and between 2 and 3, there was about 25 minutes, and that's enough to get up. We actually got got 10,000 steps in, to get up, walk around,
right.
Get refresh your pop, do what you need to do, get some exercise, get the blood flowing, get back in your seat and ready. They did take a break between 3 and 4 of about 2 hours, and that let us get some breakfast. It was about 8:30 in the morning, so we got some breakfast, actually got real food. And then it was the same, about 25 minutes in between 4 and 5, 20 minutes in between 5 and 6, and then we had about an hour and a half in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which was a great experience because we got to go out of the theater to see everybody else coming in for the 7 p.m. And I got to see a lot of my other friends that didn't go to the marathon but were in everything. The local news was there.
Sorry.
Some of my friends did interviews, on the news and about being there all night. We joked at 40 years old, this was the only marathon that we could win. So it was quite interesting. There's a lot of people in costume. It was at 7 p.m. Leading up to that, there were probably over 1,500 to 2,000 people in the theater. There was 20 theaters in this theater, and every single one of them was showing Star Wars. So it was a really electric atmosphere, and then to be able to go in and watch Episode 7, back in February, I got to go to the celebration and see the teaser trailer in a room with thousands of people, the first time anybody's seen anything, and it was a very similar experience. You're in this theater with a group of people that are just absolutely dedicated to this. We've all been here for 24 hours. We all want to see this, and
that's sweet.
It was such a great experience. I couldn't ask for more. I just want to go see it again and haven't had time.
Excellent. All right. Wow. Excellent. All right, Alex, how have you been? What you been up to?
Well, I'll start with in-game. I took a huge break from SWTOR. It's not like 3 years huge, but it's huge for me. 3 months. I took quite a bit of a break just a few weeks after I was on OotiniCast last. It was a combination of I was a bit angry because I was trying to get the achievements for the heroics, and on one of the terminals they didn't have one of the heroics listed, and I didn't really want to go all the way to Tatooine to go find it. So I got really mad at myself, and then I checked my email. My teacher had changed a due date for an assessment, and I got really, really mad. So I switched off the game, had to work on the assessment, and for the next few months, I really didn't turn the game back on.
Wow.
It wasn't that I was working. It was just bad memories. I don't know. But I finally returned, and I haven't been playing as much as I did when Coffee came out. But I got back into my agent, and I took him through Tatooine. I'm on Alderaan now, and I did some more heroics. When I was on Tatooine, I noticed that the mission, the big story on the planetary story arc, the thing Zerka found, that mission was cut short hugely. I remember you have to go through this huge tunnel and fight thousands at least of enemies. But now there's just an elevator that takes you straight to the phase, and you're like, oh, okay, yay! And I managed to do that, and that was actually quite fun because I always thought, oh, this mission again. And so it was nice to be able to just kind of walk in there and do it. But then I did enter for the SWTOR meme contest you guys held, and I was pretty happy to know that I got Tio's favorite. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time on that one. No, I just opened the picture up in Paint, crossed it out, and wrote Sky Troopers. I was like, yep, pretty good. That's a great. I'm still very proud of myself for that idea. So
that was a title you made up, producer's favorite, or something like that.
Yeah, I gave it producer's favorite. So make that an official award, please. Otherwise, it's my first ever time doing the Life Day event because previous years I've been away for the holiday season. So I'm finally here to do Life Day, and I made myself a little setup. Don't post this because there's companion spoilers, I guess, if people don't want those. But I just basically lined up all the companions I could find in my stronghold and threw snowballs at them, and my thumb really hurt. And
of course, you're doing your stronghold now.
Yeah.
That's clever.
It was, and
so those actually count, huh?
Yeah, and it's quite funny when you see some quite serious companions and they've just got little snowflakes drifting off them. It's quite
awesome.
Quite funny. And I was quite disappointed when they didn't have any kind of The Force Awakens items. I was really hoping that they would have like at least a cross guard and maybe a little BB-8 pet. And I was kind of like trying to come up with ideas for how they would do it in my head, like a I don't know, like a time travel pack, or like an awakening pack where it's just you get a few items from the Force Awakens, or like similar at least, because I'm pretty sure Disney wouldn't let them have Kylo Ren's mask or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I was quite disappointed, but with the lack of items. But yeah, that was it for in-game. Other than in-game, a few weeks ago I did the 25th episode of Geek Podcast with you, Chill, where we completely spoiled Knights of the Fallen Empire, and that was a really fun episode. And
Thanks,
it's
yeah.
one of the only episodes I've actually gone back and listened to, because I usually don't like listening to my own voice, but I went back and listened to that because I had such a fun time recording that. So yeah.
Well, that's great.
And if any of the listeners want to, I don't know, see how we felt, because you guys haven't done a spoiler cast yet, have you?
Not for Kotvi, no.
Not for coffee, no.
So if you want a kind of like a kind of a spoiler cast with like minus the speculation, go listen to the 25th episode of my podcast.
Yeah,
And
Geek Podcast.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's quite long though, but I guess you guys like to do long podcasts. Mine are usually about 30 minutes.
Do we ever?
I also write blog posts. I took a big break from that because last episode you guys said, well, three is quite a lot, and I finally realized, yeah, I'm way behind on these, and I've got so many assessments to do. I'm just going to take a long break from these too. But
Right.
over the past week, when I first heard about the HK 55 bonus chapter, I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. It's kind of like the Catwoman or Robin like DLC for the Arkham
Oh, yeah.
games.
It would be like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because you play as a different character in the same world. But I decided, well, I've got ideas. I like to write, so why don't I write my ideas? So I wrote down like a little bit of, not like a script, but more of like just an overview of what I think would be cool. But so I wrote that. I published it yesterday, and someone read it. I can't remember who, so I'm very, very sorry if you listen to this and you read it and I don't know your name. But he or she said that the HK droids were made by Circa, and I didn't know that, so now I have to figure out a way to work that in. So if you want to see my ideas, which is inevitably worse than whatever BioWare's doing, because they're all talented writers and I'm just me, check that out. It's a little fun.
That was a comment from Sir Salisbury last week's guest.
So thank you for that, Sir Salisbury. I think I can pronounce that. Yeah. And then I did see The Force Awakens. That was incredible for me. I absolutely loved it. I can't decide right now between Empire and The Force Awakens. But it's just been, the reason I loved it so much is because I've been waiting so long for this. Like ever since it was announced, I was like, oh, new Star Wars. And I went to Comic-Con. I saw them at Comic-Con. I've been watching every trailer. I've been staying away from most of the TV spots because I feel like TV spots are a little bit spoilery. But I've been watching most stuff. I've been reading a lot. And finally, I got to see it. And it's the first Star Wars film I saw in the cinema, apart from the Clone Wars, but that doesn't count. And I loved it. I had the stupidest smile on my face. My friends were like, Alex, are you okay? I'm like, no, this is amazing. And I think I cried a few times. I laughed a lot, and I can't wait for Episode 8. And even Rogue One next year, which isn't technically tied to The Force Awakens, but it's new Star Wars, so yay. But yeah, that's all I've been doing for the past few weeks.
All right. Tito, how about your week?
Well, I saw the movie as well. Now, I did actually see the first Star Wars movie I remember seeing in the theatre would have been Return of the Jedi. So it would have been in my early teens when that came out. And I actually did go to see Episode 1 and I remember, only too clearly, my profound disappointed. I was so looking forward to that from the trailer. It looked kind of cool. I mean, there were kind of a bit weird things about it, but it still looked fantastic. And then Episode 1, and I didn't bother to go to the cinemas for Episode 2 and 3. I just waited for those to come out in DVD. Yeah, anyway, so having been burned but I had all kinds of expectations about this one. I avoided all spoilers. There was a certain spoiler which I really wish I hadn't known, but for the most part, I did keep away from it. And I thus went in more or less have no idea what the story would be, and so it really was, for the most part, kind of a revelation as it unfolded. Admittedly, I can't really talk about any details. I can't talk about any details because that would be spoilerish, but in my opinion, and this appears to be somewhat controversial, it's the best Star Wars movie out of the 7. I actually think they did better with it than the original trilogy. I may change my mind about that after I've seen it a few more times, but at least for now, I reckon it is the best. I enjoyed it that much. We saw it gold class, comfy seats, best way to do it. I have not seen it in 3D, though we've only seen the 2D version, so I may go back and see it sooner than I would have otherwise, just to see it in 3D as well. As the guys are saying, it's actually really good. Well, having seen the movie, I did finally free BB-8 from his box. He's sitting here with me. Yeah.
Did you make a little video or anything?
Ari did actually video me doing an unboxing, weather,
Nice.
and she's also got video of our dog, our Jack Russell Terrier, attacking BB-8 and knocking his little head off. So, yeah. I've only taken him for a spin a couple of times. For the most part, he's probably just going to sit on my desk. But, yeah, it's very cool. Now, believe it or not, I have actually been in game. I decided, I think I mentioned last week, that I was leveling my Sork through the Codfeast story. So I have actually finished that. Last night I did finish Chapter 9, so it's ready for Chapter 10. He will embark on his Alliance stuff shortly, I think. I don't think I can really do the Alliance on more than 1 or 2 characters. This, with my Sork, given he's kind of bad, I was taking a lot of the dark side options. If there was an opportunity to kill a particular key figure, he took it. If needed to, go with the whole Valkyrian give us a hand thing, he certainly did all that. And because I want to see he's bad, he's gone all that way. So I want to see between him and my Jedi Guardian, who is light, pure as a driven snow. I just want to see what the variation is between those two with the subsequent chapters, because choices matter, or so we're told. Anyway, that's pretty much my week, getting ready for Christmas, of course, holidays and all that, so who knows how much time I'll have to play, and we're going away for a few days to Alice Springs, in Australia's Red Centre. Yes, it's in the middle of nowhere, just for a relation's birthday. Never been there before. That's the only thing that's probably of anyone would know about it is Ayers Rock, also known as Uluru, that big symbolic Australian rock in the desert.
I was going to ask if it was near that famous rock.
Oh, that's about the only thing of significance near Alice Springs, actually.
And there are, in fact, is it hot springs?
No.
Or is it just springs? Is it just
no,
like an
it's
artesian
a desert.
well? There's no springs at all?
I don't know.
Why the hell did they name it whatever springs?
I guess there must be. I've never actually thought about it, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I don't care. But I guess I'll find out when we go there. I'll report back next week. Anyway, that's my week. Over to you, Chell.
All right. First, a shout out to the chat room. Aardvark Tung is here. Achilles X, Eleron, FFXIV, Anime King 1990, Atara 122, IATs, Blacklocks Votor, I think it's supposed to be like Brainiac, only it's, switched. Brainiac 3, Chris Arn, Darth Brundlefly, Dekion, Delegate, Demerils 85, Drumaz, Duke of Etiquette, Farseer, Fionha, Get to Vizzy, Hubita, Jockins, JP Chivalry, Lady Katiara. Katiara, thank you. Sorry. Mag V3, Mix Up Pixels, which is Alex's here. Palais, Protel, Sandman BK15, Scott Thomas, wow, a lot of people, Sledgester, Snave 1208, hello Snave, Sneaky, Z93, Sukai Beru, T_Chala, and This Man, This Monster are all here. Hello everyone. I was away from the podcast last week, and many of you will already know why. Unfortunately, my wife, Jennifer, a week ago, in the middle of the night, Tuesday morning, had a bleed in her brain, and she went into arrest and a coma. They were able to keep her body alive, but she could not be saved. Sorry. Damn it. I was hoping I could turn it off for this.
It's understandable, Chill. It's okay.
Yeah. In accordance with her wishes, her organs were donated. And though circumstances only allowed our kidneys to be transplanted, apparently both were successfully, as far as we know. They'll give us more details down the road anonymously. Other organs went to research, so in a way that can help all of us. And all I can really say personally is that it hurt. Damn it. It hurt worse than I knew I could hurt.
Do you just want to pause for a sec, Chill? Just,
I'll work through it. Fortunately, we both have very nice families. We all came together. We're helping each other. And we're helping my son as much as we can. Thank you to everyone who sent the kind messages on Twitter and Facebook. It really helps. Sorry, folks. If the opening sounded a little weird, this is probably why. One sec. Wow. Turns out coughing kind of helps. Okay. Yeah, so next time, put something down the wrong way, it'll actually help. Okay. Since my wife pre-bought tickets to Star Wars just after they became available, for her, for myself, for our son, and a couple of his friends, we decided to go to see The Force Awakens. And so I was happy to have my sister-in-law Steph came along. She too is a big Star Wars fan, and even missed her own birthday to come along to our home and comfort us. So that was very sweet. I really enjoyed the movie. Parts of it were quite touching, though I can't really separate my own emotional state from my viewing of it at this time. Yeah, probably will be a long time before I can. It had a nice mix of action and Star Wars myth in it. My wife was not a SWTOR player. She gave it a quick try, but she's just not an MMO player. But she was a very big Star Wars fan. She and her brother, when they were kids, had the album of the entire soundtrack, like not just the music, but the actual whole movie, basically, and played it over and over again. So if you gave her any line from A New Hope, she could actually start it up and then give you the entire rest of the scene. Better even than I can. So she would have really loved the movie. But was not to be. A quick word about organ donation, if I may. The organ donation people were very nice and found lots of ways to make the process easier. And we were kind of surprised by something that, even though we were in the biggest hospital in Southwest Washington, and it's big as any of the hospitals in Portland, Oregon, they only get to do 1 or 2 organ donations per month at that hospital, which seemed really low. And the reason is not quite so much that people aren't signing up. Of course, that's always an issue, and usually it's not families saying no in that moment either. But unfortunately, it just is that there's most of the ways that people die tend to leave the organs in an unusable state. Generally, a brain injury is one of the few ways it can be properly done, and so because of this, the odds of actual transplantation are low. So it's important as many people as possible make themselves available to donate, and then let their families know their wishes. It was something that both Jennifer and I felt strongly about. We haven't set up any sort of donation or anything for my wife Jennifer in her name, but if you wanted to donate either to a charity of your own choice or to an organ donation organization that services your area, that would be excellent. So, thank you. Sorry Sorry about that, and I'll probably be a little quiet the rest of the time, partly to keep my things under control, and partly because I did actually try to get into the game a few days ago, and I guess I bought the holiday items, but it just wasn't. I just wasn't in a mood to actually play. This is it's been like a punch to the brain, and I've been in a very fuzzy state ever since it's happened. I really am hoping that will pass and that I'll be able to get in and enjoy the game again. Right now, it's a little tough though. So, sorry for this very distressing week of mine, but we'll move on to the tip of the week. Yay!
Sure.
We have 5 tips this. Let me see if I think I can do this. We got 5 of them. First one is from Sukai. Just a quick tip for the new guys looking for speeders. The Black Talon on the imp side pub does drop it too on their starter flashpoint. The starter flashpoint is now dropping speeders and the reward. Very cool. And then there's a screenshot of the actual reward for the mission. Very cool. All right.
Yeah, there you go. And the Essalus, of course, is the Republic starter mission that's dropping a similar speeder.
Right. That's good. And that's absolutely new. That's never happened before. That's cool. And because this is the solo flashpoint, and it can be any level. Very cool. And Sukai also has a little bonus. Check out this site. It's lightsaber.withgoogle.com. Allows you to control a lightsaber via your phone. And the best part is you can host the game while someone else around uses their phone to control the lightsaber. Very cool.
I haven't tried this yet, but
I
it might
have.
be a bit of fun. Okay.
I have. It was quite fun. It was a little hard to control, but I enjoyed the feeling. I wish I could have chose the color of my lightsaber, but it was fun trying to take down some First Order stormtroopers, and yeah, I give it a go. I only did it once though. It's like a one-off thing for me.
Yeah.
Won't do it again. It's fun though.
Our second tip is an audio tip, and yes, it's from Knight.
Hey OotiniCast, this is Knight from the Harbinger, and first off, woohoo! I'm no longer the lone voice tipper, and Ontario West is from Harbinger, represent! Anyways, this tip has to do with a costume designer, and something that I found particularly useful in making custom sets. Now with each pack that comes out, there's normally 1 or 2 sets that are just ugly. No one wants them, and they sell for super cheap on the GTN. Well, I normally unlock all those sets in my main, and if there's a particular set I'm trying to custom make, I'll go, load them all up in my main's preview window, and if I'm missing a piece that I can't find the right one to match, I'll open collections, and I'll look through all the sets I've unlocked, including the ugly ones, and more often than not, I found that even though the set as a whole is ugly, I can find the missing piece to match the custom set in those ugly sets. And if I hadn't had them in collections unlocked already, I probably would have forgot they were even there and never even noticed them. So, anyways, that's my tip of the week, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you around at the Harbinger. Take care. Bye. Hey, OotiniCast, this is Knight from...
Okay. Teal's gonna finish that up. And my brain is so fuzzy right now, I have absolutely no idea what that was, and I'll have to listen back to the episode. Sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mike.
Now, this next one's a bit hairy. Now, just before we proceed, because... Well, let's just read it.
Okay. This one is from Sir Nobody, and I don't know if that's an Odyssey reference, but I hope it is. It is possible to get subscriber rewards without having an active subscription. If you use a refer a friend link and are under the 7 free days, when the must be subscribed on date occurs, you will get the reward. So if you want an HK55 as a companion, but can't or don't want to subscribe by January 11th, you can still have him on your account. Caveat, with the HK55 promotion, you will have to subscribe at some point, since he isn't actually available in-game until you complete Chapter 9. Caveat 2, this tip has worked for me in the past, but I suspect they changed Refer a Friend for 4.0 so that referenced players wouldn't get the expansion for free, and I'm guessing that this change is also what broke it and forced them to take it down for a bit. So it's possible that this won't work anymore, but it's worth trying anyway.
Well, given you have to subscribe anyway, it's not that much of a thing, if it even works anymore. So,
Right.
yeah. All right, our fourth tip is from Olsarge. Hey guys, I'd just like to go over a couple of quick tips that should help players to minimize all of the gear grinding. First off, have you ever wanted to raid but were intimidated by the gear grind? Do you instead prefer to PvP but wish to run operations? But wish you could run operations? Or are you an established raider who wants to burn their free Insta-60 on a new tune for raiding and are dreading trying to gear them up? Well, here at least is one tip to help. For those who don't know, one of the first things you want to do is get your 4 or 6 piece set bonus for your gear. In the past, this meant a lot of grinding in raids and hoping for the drop that you needed actually rolling your way. However, I have recently discovered that the PvP and PvE set bonuses are the same, which is true. However, that gear, the armoring piece, will actually have expertise on it and will have lower stats overall. And they can be mixed and matched. So if you decide to start raiding, purchase basic, glowing or radiant gear as you can, rip the armorings out of your PvP gear, stick them in your PvE gear and get the set bonus. As you get the drops you need during raids, you can simply swap the armoring back into your PvP set. This will help you to maximize your threat per second, DPS and heals per second, etc. as needed right away, and improve your group's chances at successfully downing those difficult bosses. Additionally, PvP armor is relatively cheap, and it does not take long before you have a full set. So this, along with the companion quest, should give you plenty of reason to queue for PvP more, especially while you wait for the last member of your raid group to finish their family dinner. Interesting idea, as long as you don't mind having sort of weaker armoring weaker armoring mod. Yeah, it's not a bad idea because it will give you the set bonus.
Right. And if it is just the mod, that's, you know, that's only part of the armor, so.
I thought I read somewhere, maybe this is just me being crazy, but it says on some items that, like, this only activates in PvP areas? Am I going crazy, or is that a thing?
That doesn't apply to the set bonus, I'm reasonably sure.
It's more of a relic thing, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, here he goes on. This is Olsarge. My second tip has been covered before, but I will go over it anyway, as it is an important tip to maximizing your playtime. Legacy gear for your tunes. What I do specifically is purchase / acquire 2 sets of legacy gear for each tune. For instance, the white and red Gree gear. I use the white for PvE and the red for PvP. I then add augments to them and swap them out as needed. This provides me with the following advantages. I can quickly see what set of gear I am in on the character tab and change as needed, which also reminds me to change my talents as well. I save money on augment slots and pulling and moving augments each time I get a better piece of gear. It does usually cost about 47,000 credits to pull and move an armoring mod and enhancement from 220 gear, but that is cheaper than purchasing an MK8 augment kit, not to mention the 30,000 to install it.
Right.
Yes, I have gone through that same particular piece of arithmetic in my mind. Either pull the mods or just reorg a new piece, and it's actually cheaper to pull the mods still. It also allows me to easily raid or PvP with a mirror tune on the opposite faction. Tired of the Empire and want to see a little of the Republic side or vice versa? Simply pull your legacy armor sets off your tune, put them into legacy storage, and log in on the other faction. Put them on your mirror tune from that faction, example Lightning Sork and TK Sage, and voila! You are now mostly raid / PvP ready with only ear, implants, and relics to go. That's right, you can also find main hand and offhand weapons and items that are bind to legacy, taking utility of this tip that much further. The last bonus of this is the junk you get while raiding. Are you a Sork? You just got a piece of medtech gear in a raid? Simply get the legacy gear for your Merc healer that you just created, swap out armorings, and the rest is needed, and send it back. You can almost completely and effectively gear an alternate tune for raiding and or PvP, while still only playing on your main tune. I realise this was a bit long-winded, and the legacy gear piece has been covered before, but the sheer utility of it should be better understood and experimented with to really maximise your gameplay experience. And yes, he's right. It's an amazing thing, legacy gear in SWTOR, the ability to
Yep.
just fill it up with and send it to your alts. I mean, why not just make comms legacy-wide?
All right. Fifth tip is from Dekion. Happy Life Day to the guild and everyone listening. Here's my tip of the week. If you like the look of the Insta60 armor, then you're in luck. It's all free. If you haven't spent your Insta60 token or raised your Insta60 to level 61, you can create unlimited Insta60 alts for different classes. Since the armor is legacy bound, simply mail their armor to your other tunes. And since it's a level 60 armor set, you'll have to slip the pieces into the outfit designer slots when you want to upgrade equipment. The pieces aren't restricted to class or faction, but you will have to be level 60 or higher to drop them into your outfit design slots. Everyone have a happy holiday, and may the force be with you. And
Nice.
by random allotment, the winner is Sukai. Congratulations, Sukai. You're the winner of an M83R or Tonfon Droid Pet Code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the Holo feed. Tio?
Believe it or not, there's almost no news. What a shock. Because, well, as we'll find out, it appears that BioWare Austin is, for the most part, on holiday. Who can blame them, really? It is the holidays after all. So, we'll start with a post that was made about the launcher, the game launcher. So, what they've done is, and this is getting a little technical, but the bit you have to know is they updated the security certificates on the launcher repair utility and the SWTOR installer, the main installer, and due to Microsoft no longer supporting whatever they were using as of the 1st of Jan next year, 2016. But what this means is if you happen to be one of those people who are still on XP and Vista, you will encounter errors when attempting to run either repair utility or the launcher, it would appear. Because they don't support the new certs. So anyway, you're just going to get the pop-up warnings saying it's from an unknown publisher, yada yada. Just click through it.
Okay.
It's fine, is the bottom line there. And for those of us on Windows 10 or even Windows 7, you should be okay. So it's just XP or Vista. And honestly, move up. Move on, guys, if you possibly can. Windows 10 is superb. Well, actually, it's just Windows 7, but a bit better. But anyway. Right, so next, well, let's talk events. We talked last week about the Rakghoul event, how it had kind of been a bit broken. They were kind of looking at it, and it looked like they weren't able to fix it on day 2, the Wednesday when we recorded the last week's show, and they went on to say that after further investigation, we unfortunately will be unable to address the issues with the Rakghoul Plague before the event expires on Tuesday. And they apologise for any experience, and it's scheduled to return on January the 12th, so it is going to be back next year. So, sorry about that. But of course, we had Bounty Contract Week starting this week. So, to make up for everything, you know, because this is the December with all the events, and apparently, fortunately, that one's broken too. Probably for the same reasons, who knows. Anyway, they have said, they have posted, we have identified the issues. The cause of Bounty Contract Week to not activate as expected, note issues plural, due to the nature of the issues and the impending holiday, we will not be fixing the event, and it will return as scheduled in January.
Okay.
So anyway, I apologise for any inconvenience and hope you enjoyed Life Day, which did work, and the double XP event, which kicked off with Force Awakens. So, yeah, no events. So, I mean, you can infer for this. Well, you can infer from this that whoever knows the code or the scripting enough to actually fix this particular issue is on holiday.
Right.
And, well, there's only one of them, or maybe two, and they're both on holiday. So,
Right.
and somewhere where they're not contactable to drag back into the office to fix whatever has to be fixed. And they won't be back until January. So, yeah. A little disappointing.
Let's just throw out a question here. Everything I've read, everybody I've talked to says that one of the great things working for BioWare is your quality of life, your work-life balance. They just go out of their way to make that the number one issue in your life. And we're kind of in an interesting place today. That sounds great, and maybe there's a little jealousy behind that when I have to go to work and work 50 hours the week of Christmas because it's the busiest time of year, and there's problems that need to be fixed. Maybe that, but is it fair then to judge and say maybe you shouldn't be running a persistent universe that's 24/7, 365 if you're going to be off for 3 weeks during the month of December every year?
Well, it's great that they have a good work-life balance because obviously that is a problem with certainly in the game industry, burning out their employees, etc. But as you say, this is a game that doesn't sleep and certainly doesn't go on holiday, and that's when players are usually playing these games the most, during the holiday when they're not at work. So, yeah, maybe you should make arrangements so that people can actually be in the office who are capable of actually fixing the problems. You're right.
Or, well, I don't know that I'm saying that. You sit back and reflect about where we are right now and where Chill is right now and where we are talking about. Maybe it's not fair for us to say that you know what, this is the time to be out of work with our families and enjoy the holidays. And this is a game. Maybe it's not that big of an issue that it's a month off. Is it really that big of a deal?
Well, maybe if they waived our subscription for December. Everyone seems to still be paying for it, so you do expect a certain level of service. However you want to arrange that.
I'll have HIP get in touch with the Cartel Compensation Committee.
Excellent. All I need, more cartel coins. All right, moving on. There is a competition. I believe it was mentioned during an interview that we talked about a show or two back with being run with NVIDIA. What they basically want you to do is record some SWTOR gameplay experience. It looks like they specifically want Knights of the Fallen Empire using NVIDIA Shadowplay. Now, obviously, that rules out anyone who doesn't have an NVIDIA graphics card, but that's probably about half players. But if you do have Shadowplay, which is a way of just using your card itself to actually do the recording of a video rather than using something like OBS of gameplay, it does it really well because the card's doing all the work. It doesn't affect your CPU or anything else for the most part, so that's kind of cool. And so you record your coffee gameplay using Shadowplay, and then you post it to YouTube, whatever. And you've got to fill out a little entry form with the link to it, the YouTube link to it. And the prizes they're giving away, there are three of our favourites will each win a powerful gaming PC, which probably is, plus valuable in-game rewards from BioWare. And the 10 runners-up will receive a GTX 960 GeForce card. That's a pretty sweet card. So yeah, I'm sure the gaming rigs are fantastic, and even just the cards would be good because they're the current up there. So yeah, very nice. I'll link to what you have to do to get into it. Seems pretty easy if you got an NVIDIA card. If you don't, oh well.
Oh well.
Indeed.
Oh well.
Does anyone not have an NVIDIA card?
Me.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't technically have a gaming PC. I have a little laptop I play on.
I have an NVIDIA card, but it's so old, Shadowplay doesn't work.
Right. So you got to have an NVIDIA card that's reasonably modern that supports Shadowplay. Okay.
Somebody like me could really use the upgrade, but I don't qualify for it.
All right. And the only other thing I wanted to cover in the news was just the fact that Star Wars Force Awakens sort of blew away all the records in terms of earnings for its opening weekend.
Yep.
Let's see. The Force Awakens has earned $288.1 million in 4 days of release, meaning it will pass the 300 million mark by the time you finish reading this article. This is an article from Forbes, which I will link. It's the biggest 4-day total in history, and said 288 million cumulative would make it the second largest 7-day total ever behind Jurassic World's 296 million week long. So wow, even if J.J. Abrams' movie stopped making money between now and Friday, which it sure as hell didn't and won't. So yeah. Anyway, it's just incredible. So if you haven't seen The Force Awakens yet, what are you doing? It's a Star Wars game and Star Wars podcast, so I'm sure you've all seen it pretty much. We will have a spoiler cast, we should mention, about that sometime in the future. Probably in January, we may record it.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, our Kranatoko, who saw it somewhere in the UK, in the next town over, I believe he said, he got a awesome cup and metal popcorn tub with obviously Star Wars stuff all over it.
No, so cool.
It's beautiful. The cup itself, the metal popcorn cup, has got BB-8 and R2, C-3PO. Yeah, just sort of, it almost looks like it's engraved, though I'm sure it's just an image on the cup, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice, mate. Very nice. All right, community news. Firstly, thanks to Matt Brennan, also known as Papa Bear, from the US, and Wigan Chance from the UK for their 5-star iTunes reviews. iTunes is still a thing, as I get reminded whenever I find out about these reviews. So please, if you happen to use iTunes, give us some kind of review. It doesn't have to be 5 stars, whatever you deem appropriate. So yeah, thank you. Also, now there was a Reddit discussion on episode 239, our last show last week, where we had Sir Salisbury talk about how SWTOR compared with Final Fantasy XIV, a game which did badly but then relaunched and is now doing really well.
Oh, good.
Good suggestions there. Had a few posts. Now, let's see. Now, Swodarista had some thoughts about the new companion conversations. The new throwback conversations were introduced very badly, in her opinion. The contrast to the amazing story cutscenes is jarring and unwelcome, especially in what was supposed to be the last chapter, the finale. They threw me off the Alliance content so much I didn't touch it for over a month. Now that it's been a month and I'm picking them up again, I think they are pretty good. I don't mind watching it without my character as much now that I am not expecting it to be part of the epic storyline. So for her, it was a jarring contrast between the regular cutscenes, where you see your character interacting, and the KOTOR style talking head.
Yes.
With extended dialogue options. She says they could have done a lot better by finishing the storyline cleanly and clearly than having some other quests in between, then slowly sliding into the new style of cutscenes. There's a lot of neat content there. My favourites are the returning companions whose stories are often tied to the conversations you may have had with them on other characters in the past. So that is kind of cool, as they drag all 40 companions back into the main game, and you get to have all of them eventually. Now, another comment from Sithfish. You have a good point about brand identity, but I think BioWare's brand isn't BioWare, it's BioWare Montreal. Everyone knows BioWare Austin is not real BioWare, and especially if Shadow Realms had not been cancelled, it would have just been even more clear that Austin is a completely different studio, making a completely different type of game. So the point there is, he's right, BioWare Austin was actually created specifically for Star Wars The Old Republic. It isn't like the guys who made Mass Effect or whatever, or the old RPG styles. Of course, there is a lot of crossover and cross-fertilization, and the culture of the company is more or less the same, but yeah, you can't really say story is in its DNA, because for the people actually making the game, it's not. But that said, they have made some fantastic stories, so...
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder why then they always say that they're going back to the BioWare style of it if they haven't worked on Mass Effect or what's it called?
Dragon
KOTOR.
Age?
Oh yeah, Dragon Age, yeah. That's BioWare, isn't it? Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there was some more commentary. It's quite a long conversation. A gentleman by the name of Honorum stepped in. This is all in Reddit, of course. and he was posing a very opposite point of view to almost everything that we're talking about, that we have had some people saying they really love the new stuff. He was pointing out that in his opinion, the big change to Story was actually quite intelligent and driven by the metrics, which obviously BioWare has access to and we do not. And that by completely downplaying all the MMO aspects and upping the single-player RPG side of it, they are doing what really will bring in the money and bring in the players and bring in subscriptions. So what I'm going to do, I think we'll talk about that more in depth next week or the week after, when we have other people on the show and it's not just before Christmas, etc. So look out for that in the future. So yeah, thank you everyone who has commented on our shows. It's really appreciated. And that was a really extensive conversation in Reddit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the news.
Oh, okay. That'll bring us to the Force Feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll gather them now to answer once we're done with the feedback. AJ, do you want me to read the whole name thing to you?
No.
AJ wrote, after listening to your latest podcast, Jill mentioned that the courting gifts were working as intended. I definitely am not seeing the correct influence gain for my romance class companions after Coffee launched. I checked on Alara, Risha, Nadia, Raina Temple, Mako, Ashara, and Kira. Using the Tor Community Companion Affection tables, I compared what I should be getting with the actual. None of these characters are beyond influence level 15, and I tested with rank 5 blues. Interesting. Okay. Alara, no influence from courting, should be loving the gifts. Risha, no influence from courting, should be liking the gifts. In addition, Risha should love Underworld if a male romanced her, but only getting a favorite. Nadia, moderate influence from courting, should be loving. Reina, moderate, should be loving. Mako, no influence, should be loving. Ashara, no influence, loving. And Kira, no influence, should be a favorite. In addition, Kira should love luxury if a male romanced her, but only getting a favorite. Two things to note. Didn't list a Sith Warrior companion because I was light side, didn't have a true romance. With a few of my characters, I did pursue Lana during Forged Alliances. However, this doesn't appear to be a factor since all of my romance companions do not respond to courting gifts appropriately. When Coffee launched, the romance flags for companions seem to have disappeared when it comes to gifts. I'm rather curious if female characters are seeing this with their male class companions. Also, if someone completed the class story after Coffee, do courting gifts work correctly then? On another note, the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes app launched 2 weeks ago. HK-47 is a character, which makes me wonder if he's now canon.
Now that's a good question.
I just Googled it. Then, due to the nature of the game is not canon. So,
Okay.
sucks.
Too bad.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, still broken. And I think I don't know, but I'm guessing that doesn't matter which gender your character is. I suspect it's just broken.
Right. Well, yeah. What I must have had was just something that was working for me. So I don't know.
Okay.
It was on a female characters. So
and that was before you started Codfee, or Codfee was going.
No, this was Codfee.
Okay.
This is for the Alliance and all.
Sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't broken on that one character. So, like I said, those are the female characters, and I was doing it on a character who was female. Therefore the romance was male, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. All right, Sukaiberu and is it Miker? Mikri? Mikri?
Micah.
Okay, Miker. Okay, thank you. Sukaiberu and Miker wrote, first, let's say sorry to all the poor PvP players that queued with us and the one Flashpoint team that we run with. As you know, over the last few weeks, Ort and I have been attempting to get to 65 from level 1 without any real gear. We have just hit level 60 and 61 tonight, and tomorrow we hit Codfee. The only gear we took in was the PvP starter gear, cartel market armor, and a lightsaber with plus 41 power. See the video for a review on the gear.
I'll include that in the show notes.
Yeah, Ort played a Sage spec, was DPS balance. I played a Sage spec with healer. Companions were either tank or DPS, mostly DPS for the last 20 levels. We found that the level sync works in the player's favor. We did not have any problems with starting at Tython. Once we got past the level of the planet, the quest became so easy. We took the following path. 1. Do all the planet story quests only. 2. Do all the heroics for that planet. 3. Do daily PvP each day. 4. Move on to the next planet. And 5. Once we hit 53, we moved to CZ-198 and started Shadow of Revan flashpoints once they appeared in the mission box. We could have stayed with just doing heroics, but we need the companions to do crew skills. The companions were used in the following way. 1. Nico to get us to level 10. 2. Kaizen until the rank hit level 10. And 3. Ship droid or other companions. And then we try to keep the companions under rank 10. In other words, not letting that become their crutch. Very smart.
Yep.
If you're trying to do this the hard way. Flashpoints. We only attempted one Hammer Station group finder. The mission was not hard. Trash pulls or large mobs killed the groups, but the boss fights were easy.
Wow.
Playtime is less than 44 hours total. No XP boosts, no guild XP boosts, and no character perks. All datacrons we had. Credits, well, we hit 2 million. Crew skills hit 350 plus. 1,000 basic data crystals plus 3 boxes of 99 from Shadow of Revan, which should give us a full 208 set.
Yep.
And PvP comms, 10,000, because remember they were doing dailies.
Yeah.
Should have the full 204 set of PvP plus 208 relics, which are best in slot for non-operations groups. And a quick tip, once you hit 59, do the weekly before you hit 60, as it will reset at 60 and give you the new daily or weekly for 60 plus. There's a nice little mini tip for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And we found that a number of the flashpoints in Shadow of Revan were easier than the last time we did the fights. The boss fights were no trouble and seemed like a normal mob pull, not a real boss fight.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Incredible.
Yeah. Gear drops have changed. Oricon no longer drops gear, but only comms. That's interesting, too. Overall, we do not think the level 60 token is really required. We did all of this and it was easy. The time taken was no issue. We took our time in doing the runs and could have completed it in less than 240 with boosts, no problems. Gameplay itself has been reduced. There were some times when we need to think about the pulls. At no time do we need to use heroic moment. Interesting.
Wow.
I would say that level sync has reduced the need for any gear runs at all. The game has been simplified too much for the level process. There's no way we should be doing level 50 worlds with the gear we had. Pre-level sync, I could get around level 30 or 35 before upgrading from the level 10 gear. Now we just save the comms for endgame purchases.
Now, this was a couple of weeks ago, and Suki and Micah did actually get to 65 using this.
Yeah.
But someone pointed out that technically they didn't do it without any gear, because they did actually put in their earpiece and relics and implants and stuff, etc., as they got them.
Right.
So, Suki took this as a challenge, and he's currently in day 3 of Double Experience on SWOTOR, leveling with just the gear he got at level 1. As in
Wow.
the tunic, pants, boots, and the practice saber. Yeah, everything else is still empty. He is now level 51.
Wow. So
Damn, no advanced class.
And no advanced class. That's incredible. And that shows you, that their hunch was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That the level sync is a major help.
Now, what he pointed out is it was not just that. It's the fact that your companion, their power in their stats comes from your level, not your gear.
Right.
So...
And your presence.
You basically got a geared companion with you at all times.
Right. That's funny. Okay. JJ wrote, "The real gladiator will test your gear." This is referring to the Eternal Championship in the lower levels of Zakul.
And it's a meme showing
Showing
Baldar.
Bodar.
Yep.
And it says, SWOTOR Throw Pit coming in February. Are you not entertained?
Yeah, so that is the new content. So there is new content. It isn't just story, which is the way they describe it is some sort of gladiatorial contest where you are fighting waves of mobs, either one at a time that get stronger and stronger, or there are multiple. We'll see.
Right. But either way, it sounded like they do get harder and harder until you either bomb out, or it sounded like there was sort of like an end boss where if you beat it, you've done all you can, essentially. All right. D. Lots wrote, "Hey Tio, saw this link in Reddit this evening. Very interesting."
Referring to the new Visceral games, still details are slow to emerge. We talked about it before. It's more like Uncharted. There are references to 1313, the defunct game that LucasArts was making and just went nowhere. We still don't know. We don't know anything really. So hopefully, I'm guessing E3 will get some revelations. Who knows? But yeah, at least for now. It's looking interesting, I guess.
Yeah. We have no idea what kind of game it is. No, what style, what genre.
Just, yeah. Maybe
Guess
a stealth
we'll find
game
out.
kind of thing, action-y.
Yeah.
I've never played an Uncharted game, so I guess it's
Me either.
that.
I've just read about it, so...
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Azano wrote, "So the movies got me motivated. I resubbed and I'm playing some Kotfi." Well, there you go. That's exactly what they were hoping for. You are their target audience. Good stories. Continuing with Joe. Good story so far, but not really an MMO. Definitely enjoying it. Just a bit lonely right now, but I'm assuming that will change once I've finished.
yeah, no.
Well, at least...
Well, maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
to a degree. I mean, at least that stuff kind of opens up. You know, you can do operations
does.
with that plane and so on.
And you can do that all the way through. So the Groove Finder's there. You can
Yeah.
always hop in with pugs, which can be interesting. There is always some fascinating people out there. And I suspect that he's not alone. There are going to be many, many people getting their Star Wars fix with The Force Awakens and actually wanting to play a Star Wars game, and where better to go than a persistent universe
Yep.
where you can actually go into Star Wars, and at least certainly 1 to 50, those original stories, and playing through all those planets, fantastic. So,
Right. Even with the quicker leveling and so on that it's developed over time, it's still hundreds of hours of gameplay and story, fully voiced, all that good stuff.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing when you think about it, especially with the 8 different stories, 4 on each faction to go through. There's a ton of content there.
It does look like that it is having an effect. The servers have been very busy the past few days.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And, I think Snape brought up today about the number of angry posts on Reddit are getting out of hand. But, honestly, I pay a lot of attention. There's a lot, both on the forums and on Reddit, a lot of new players coming in.
I've seen that too.
A lot. Yeah. I would say, though, the one thing that they're all asking is, I'm lost. I need help. Are there guides? Where am I doing? And you know what? This is where we're starting to feel some of this. There aren't a lot of good guides for these guys now, post 4.0, of how things are working and where things are. So, if you really, I want to say you have time, want to make an impact on the community, get some new user guides out there and get them spread out, because there's a lot of people coming into the game that need help.
Too true. And my question is it going to stick? Is it going to be sticky for those people? Are they going to stay subscribed? Are they going to subscribe at all? Because, Bill, as you were pointing out, if you're just playing through the original game, you don't need a subscription. It's actually surprisingly painless, especially now with the enhanced, with 6 times XP.
Right, and level sync and all that.
And level sync,
Yeah. I mean, if Sukai can get through the content without gearing up at all and no advanced class, you're not going to need the perks of having the extra bars and the and so on that you would get with a subscription necessarily. You could just do it with 1 bar, put your abilities on, and go to town. All right. Ray Lehman wrote, "Is this good or bad? Star Wars, The Old Republic, Knights of the Fallen Empire, good game," and then it kind of cuts off. A good review, but it is reviewed by someone who knows why the apostrophe there, Tio? I'm not sure what's going on there.
Oh, no idea. It's Ray.
Okay. It's a good review, but reviewed by someone who knows the content is aimed at casual single player.
Yeah, the way he was talking, and I've seen this in a few reviews. Basically, fantastic single player experience, but where's all the MMO bits? I mean, they are there. Let's not rehash that.
Yeah.
This is from Good Game, which is an Australian YouTube channel and TV show on the ABC. It's really funny, and the review's about 10 minutes.
Cool.
The guy's dressed up as Palpatine. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir Nobody wrote, there are 3 bugs currently affecting my account. The first 2 have a fairly trivial effect on my ability to play the game the way I want to. The third occurred recently and has significantly affected my gameplay. All 3 are described at the bottom of this email. I'm a preferred player, but have subscribed for a month here and there when I was able to get a little extra value out of that month's subscription, making it worth the cost to me. I decided in November that I was going to run through the Zyos quest line, which I hadn't done yet, and then subscribe for a month to get coffee. Halfway through Zyos quest line, I hit a bug where I completed one quest, but wasn't given the next quest. The Zyos bug has a thread on the forums and on answers.ea.com. Tate suggests in the forums that opening a ticket is the best way to get the bug fixed, but players have commented that those tickets are taking multiple weeks or longer to get answered. But, as preferred, I can't open a ticket. I'm willing to subscribe for a month to play Kotfi, but if I spend half of that month waiting for a ticket to be answered, then it's not worth it to me. The other option for customer service is to call them, but the SWTOR website that says that phone support cannot address in-game bugs. I'm hoping you can give me some advice on how to proceed, or possibly post this on the forums for me so that BioWare has an opportunity to advise me themselves. I'm interested and willing to spend some money on the game if I can get the bugs affecting my account fixed first, but there doesn't seem to be an option to get my account fixed until after I start paying. Thank you for your input, Sir Nobody. And I'll give the bugs that. You want me to do the bugs now?
No, we won't bother.
Okay.
So, what's the advice? I've got no ideas besides subscribing and then getting them to fix it. What else could you do? Unless you are subscribed, you can't open a ticket, as he says.
For some reason, I thought when he said that he completed one quest and it wasn't giving him the next, I thought he meant he finished it and was wondering why Kotvi hadn't started. But that's clearly not the problem.
No, he's literally stuck halfway through Zyos. My advice to you, actually, thinking this through, is don't worry about Zyos. It's fine. Just play Kotfi, subscribe, and eventually they'll fix it. Maybe use your Insta60 when you subscribe and play through Kotfi at least, so you can actually see that content.
No, that doesn't work because it starts Kotfi immediately, locking out all Zyos.
That's what I'm saying. Use Insta60. Yeah,
no.
I agree. So if you did it on the character that is stuck on Zyos, you wouldn't be able to go back, as Alex says.
I see. In other words, do Kotfi on the Insta60.
So use your Insta60 maybe to do the Kotfi content, which won't be unaffected by this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But remember, the obvious point is Kotfi is completely unlocked. So you're spending your $15, you're getting Kotfi unlocked, all 9 chapters, and it's not like it locks again after your sub drops, so you'll still be able to play it afterwards. So it doesn't matter when you spend it. Unless you want HK 55, which means you have to be subbed on February 9th or something, or 11th.
January 11th.
Is it?
January 11th, I think. And then you get the reward.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever it is.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Gruton, Insta60 Commando, wrote, awesome discussion on your last podcast about the questionable future of operations in the game. I don't generally do operations. I'm more of a player who likes the story content more than the operations. However, after listening to your discussion on the latest podcast and thinking it through, it focused on some things that have been lingering in the back of my mind that I couldn't quite put a finger on. I loved the expansion when it first came out, but that enthusiasm has been declining. First off is value for money. The sub cost has remained the same even though the focus has shifted. I don't mind paying the full sub cost when I had 8 different storylines to follow. Plus, even though I didn't do them often, there was still the offering of flashpoints and operations. In total, it was good value. Now, even for me as a story-driven player, I now pay the same amount of money for a single storyline, which is the same for all classes, and even, generally, the same for both factions. It feels like I'm getting less for the same amount of money. The other thing deals with guilds. By the way, that seems like a reasonable issue to take up. The other thing deals with guilds. In my experience, the main drivers and leaders of a vibrant guild have been the operation players, the players who log on and enjoy playing with other people. With mainly a single storyline-driven game, it isn't always easy to group, which isn't always easy to group up for. Boy, that's the truth. My fear is that guilds will become less and less relevant, and the social aspect of a guild is always something I enjoyed the most. I'm excited to have just joined Utini Knights, yay! But I have tunes and guilds on other servers where there's rarely more than a few players on, except during raid time, and the players that are on aren't interested in grouping up to help out. The story content has also become so easy so as to negate the need for occasional help from a guildie or other player. When the game first came out, we were grouping all the time to get through challenging story content. Now, not so much, or even at all. If I were to reduce the cost of the sub, I think it would make me feel better, as, in my opinion, the comparative value is just not there anymore for the amount they charge. I will stay subbed through at least the next chapter to see where it goes. After that, I'm not so sure. Thanks all. Sorry if this was a long-winded stream of consciousness. We have a new baby at home, so lack of sleep is definitely reducing my mental capacity right now. Mazel tov. Congratulations. Yeah, that's an interesting point. The game has changed, therefore should the cost of the subscription perhaps change in some way?
Yeah, or at
What do you
least...
think?
I don't think they'll ever do that, but I do think you cannot charge $15 per month and just deliver a chapter of content. I think that
For
is
like
a terrible
2 hours
proposition.
max a month.
Yeah, if you're not doing anything else. Usually you pay your subscription on the assumption that you'll get other content along the way. Of course, you are paying to get access to the game itself, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then again, you can do that as a preferred or free-to-play player. So...
Yeah, a while back I was considering, well, this is probably due to me taking a break, but I was thinking about, well, what's the point in saying subscribed anymore? Because I really just play through the story and then I just kind of leave for a bit. And I was just thinking, well, I'll just come back, subscribe for a month when all the chapters are done for season 1 or whatever. But then they announced that HK thing, and it got me thinking because they're going, well, what do these ops players love? They love operations and they love story. But they also love HK55 because everybody loved HK55. Like, oh, he's the best character. He's the best character. So I think that they're taking HK and using him as like, well, these ops players want HK because they like HK. He was funny. So if we do that, we can keep them subscribed. But that's, I think, what their tactic really is, and I don't know. It's making me subscribe because I like HK, but otherwise I'd be just kind of waiting it out. So I think their tactic is clearly working, but it's
On
not
you,
making
at
people
least.
happy. Yeah, on me. I'm the odd one out.
But the obvious point is, what happens if you join the game in a week or two, or a few weeks, and it's too late to actually get HK55, or it's too late to play as HK55, because you've got to be sub for that whole period. And there's got to be a whole lot of people who join the game in the months ahead who will just miss out because it's too late. It doesn't make a lot of sense, really.
Yeah.
I'll just remind everyone, make sure you are subscribed by February 1st, because otherwise you'll be penalised by an extra days to get into Chapter 10. It comes 2 days later for you if you haven't subscribed. Sorry, early access. I beg your pardon.
And if you don't stay subscribed pretty much the whole time, then you will miss out on the extra chapter with 55.
Correct.
All right. Let's see. Ryan wrote, I agree with the vote with your wallet concept. However, EA's marketing team is working hard to combat this already. There are currently deals for 60 and 90 days of subscription time through Origin and Amazon, where you also get 1,050 and 2,400 cartel coins, respectively. Now I'm stuck in a predicament where can I end my subscription for a time to send a message that I'm unhappy with the current trend, or should I save $25 on a subscription for 3 months and still be eligible for subscription rewards? What are your thoughts on this? Sounds like what they're doing is working.
Clearly it's good value. Yeah. To state, well, as we said before, I'm staying subscribed because I think I am getting enough value out of it. I'd be happier if there was more stuff, so I'm completely failing to vote with my wallet in any way, shape or form. And this is a hell of a deal, so why not? Yeah. I'd go with it myself.
Well, it
Yeah.
begs the question of, if you're subscribing, everybody should do this. You're losing not to do it. Every
He's right.
subscriber should go out and do this instead of your normal subscription. It's cheaper and you get more coins.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single person,
Right.
if you're subscribed, should do it.
If you're
Yes.
going to do it anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
In fact,
Damn
I'm-
right.
yeah, if I can afford it, I will actually look at that.
It just makes sense. And if you know you're going to do it for 6 months, I would say I would get 3 of them, the 60-day packs. You're going to get it's going to be the same price about for the 6 months, and you're going to get the extra 3,150 cartel coins. So it made me think about. I'm not going to lie. It gave me pause. I thought about it. It didn't get me to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Right. But it was
Bargains
close.
are always hard to resist. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And given how hard you were working to not be subscribed, that's saying something.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. And Christmas message from Warchild, Midian, and Ewacalypse Now.
OotiniCast Christmas Take 32, and fear not, it is quite brief.
Okay.
On behalf of Warchild, Midian, and Apocalypse Now,
We wish you a Merry Christmas. And may the Force be with you in 2016 in those lands.
Yay.
That's sweet.
There was something quiet at the end which I missed, but
Yeah, I kind of missed that too. It
Right,
must
there
be
was,
a subliminal message.
there was extra feedback. I'm going to push that into next week's show because we're already running longer than I thought we would, so let's wrap it there.
All right, then, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @utinicast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to Bill and to Alex of the Geek Podcast. And thank you to the chat room, of course. And we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Can I get an Utini Rage from someone? Say anyone.
Do you want to do it, Bill, or should I do it?
You go ahead.
Okay. Utini Rage! There you go.
Well, you know Darren DePaul, but I guess
Yeah.
But who is? In
All
some
right,
ways,
guys.
it's actually it'll make a nice contrast.
you guys keep recording. Thank you for watching. We will be back next week for probably a short show. As I said, no news, but we will do a bit of a retrospective on 2015, just cover what the game did and didn't bring us, etc. So anyway, thanks guys, and let me stop the broadcast. Enjoy your happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Holidays.
That's right.
All right, stopping and